eBay Open 2023 recap with C Chats, Libby and Samantha. Hey, Samantha, how's it going?
Good. How are
Yeah,
you doing?
yeah, we were just chatting a little bit about how discombobulated we've been this week. Not because of eBay Open 2023, but mine is a little because of eBay Open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, anytime you try to do an event or do whatever, it's different when you go out of town because you're away from your business. You know that that's what you're doing. I
yeah.
guess when you went to one in person, then you came home to do the stuff online. And I don't know, I'm sure your business was ignored this week just as much as mine was.
I tried. I tried. All right. So, like this was especially challenging for me because I'm a podcast listener. I don't do a whole lot of like watching YouTube and videos and stuff and trying to work. Hey Melanie, hi Jill. Retail therapist is in the house. Um
Hi.
yeah, so for me to sit and like try to concentrate on like the videos and the screen, it was really challenging for me to sit there and do that all in a couple of big chunks. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really struggled with that. I thought the content was super engaging, awesome. um Melanie, Jill, who's in the comment? Are you both there? Let us know what your thoughts on eBay Open, or if you participated, or whether you're going to watch the replays. I'm kind of curious. Oh, good. Joe and Nicole are in the house, or maybe it's just one of them. I don't know. Let us know. Let us know what your experience at eBay Open was. Look what I got in the mail today.
I don't have mine's downstairs.
Yeah.
How? Why did you get one too? What the heck?
I shouldn't have gotten one. I know they
No.
were just being nice. This is a pity thing.
No,
Samantha
because they know
actually is
we're
the
gonna
only one that should have received one of these.
No, you win trivia, like every trivia question they ask. So it was just so cool that I was there and answered one before you. They
I
just know that
wasn't
we're gonna
answering a lot on this one, I have to say. I was really off on this final showcase. So yeah.
because Nicole is there. She loves to spend Joe's money, really. That's what it's all about. Mhm.
Too nice, guys. But I do love it. I washed it right up. I got my diet birch beer in here. But then I was
Mm.
so discombobulated, I decided I needed an adult beverage as well before we went live. So I have my Sea Chats cup as well.
There you go.
I got, I'm
I'm
double.
just I'm just
I mean,
trying to
they
stay
look
hydrated
good
over
together,
here.
right? They look good together.
They do. So I got mine out the other day. I did some pictures. I did whatever. And then we went for a walk after eBay Open. And my husband could tell I just needed to be out of the house. We went for a walk and I brought the cup with me. And I had to have my husband hold it for a second because I had a giant Great Dane that was trying to love everybody. And he looks at the cup. Granted, he knows nothing about my life in reselling. Nothing. He looks at the cup and he goes, "So are you gonna put like a sticker of my face on here?" And I'm like, "What are you? Why would I do that?" Well,
Aww.
because you'd flip that, right? I'm like, "Oh my god!"
All right. Well, I had a totally different experience with my cup here. Uh, so my mom was here working today when it came, and I said, "Oh, look what Joe and Nicole sent," because she loves the reseller showdown as well.
Nice.
Um, and she was like, "Oh wow," and she goes, "Oh, I'd flip that. That's yeah." And she goes, "Yeah, you'd flip anything, wouldn't you?" She didn't get it, and I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, you're my mom, so we're just gonna go with it.
So I had the totally opposite experience with my coffee here. But I thought that was so cute. Hopefully she's not going to watch this because
That's
that'll be
adorable.
embarrassing. Um, yeah.
So,
I
anyways,
have.
eBay
Oh, go ahead.
Open.
Yeah,
Let's
eBay
start.
Open. That's what we're here.
Let's start with pre-day. So not even day one. Pre-day.
Yeah,
That was all you.
yeah. It was. All right. So I went to Philly. I bought my ticket, and then List Perfectly asked if I'd work their booth, and um with some other List Perfectly people. So that was really cool. But yeah, so I was in Philly. I was it wasn't like in Center City, Philly. It was actually in some of my old stomping grounds. So I knew like where we were. It was really cool. It was really fun. It was like, for those of you that know Philly, it was in East Falls, and we stayed in on City Avenue. So it's kind of like not in Center City, which is what I was worried about, because there was
Right.
a lot of like looting going on that day. I guess some
Whoa.
Wawas were overrun. Yeah, yeah. So I was a little bit, but it was absolutely fine. It was
Wait, is
great.
a Wawa a gas station? Is that
Oh,
correct?
Wawa! I forget people don't know that.
Wawa is a city or a town in Canada as well. So that's
Oh,
why.
okay. No, it is our like usually it's a gas station, like convenience store. It's a
Okay.
convenience store is what it is. But, in the Philadelphia area, and they're expanding, they're down at the Jersey Shore and everything. But I forget, everybody does not know what a Wawa is.
It's a
And it
very
sounds
weird word
really
to
weird to say. I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, what? That's such a weird name. I feel uncomfortable saying it. But now I'd flip that. Okay. But anyway.
Oh God.
So eBay Open in Philly, it was really cool. They did a really nice job. The presentations were awesome. I met and chatted with the CEO. um I was excited about it, but I didn't fangirl or anything. I mean, he's a CEO, right? I
Right.
It was just cool to talk to him.
But it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the only picture I took. The rest I had to get from like Leslie and Josh and everybody. But I did take a picture with the CEO, because I promised you before I left I would be better with my picture taking and documentation skills. Yeah,
You
totally wasn't.
uploaded immediately. I'm very proud of that. Good
I
job.
did. I tried. Because I knew people kind of wanted to see what was going on. So, yeah. So you want to know what I talked to the CEO about?
Obviously me.
Yes, I was like, Samantha. No.
You talked about consignment chats, right?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely. Absolutely. So I have to say, I think he must have read one of our book club books, How to Win Friends and Influence People, because he totally Dale Carnegie'd me and asked all about my business and what my story was and what I did. So I just did a little brief recap of that, and so that was really fun. I
awesome.
guess so one of the biggest consignment sellers, or the biggest consignment seller on eBay, has been, probably always will be, Linda's Stuff, which is in the Philadelphia area.
Okay.
Could not pick her out, couldn't find her in the crowd, but she was there, and I guess they had toured her facility that day ahead of time. So he was all interested in consignment. I guess he had consignment on the brain.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was really neat. But what I really wanted to say to him, and I did say to him, was I was so happy with, since he's taking over eBay. I've been doing eBay long, 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 long time. There was this point in time, and it was an ugly, ugly eBay time, where they wanted to be Amazon and they were following the Amazon model, and it didn't fit. And when Jamie came back as CEO, he kind of started the trend to embrace what makes eBay unique, embrace its sellers, realize they're not Amazon and they're not going to win at the Amazon model, because it is a totally different business, and support like one of a kind, unique sellers. So I
Mhm.
I said, I am just very grateful for that, because that was a really rough time as an eBay seller. And it's so different now. I know not all of us have that perspective going back, but it was really rough, and there were not seller supports in place like there are now. It did not look anything like that. There were so many times that, I I don't want to say got scammed. Maybe that's the wrong word. Or, a buyer did something illegal, um, and I had to pay the price. It's
Mm.
not like that now. So,
No.
everybody that thinks it's bad now, like, I can tell you it is head and shoulders above what it was. And I'm just thrilled with the way he steered the company into supporting sellers and embracing like everybody's unique business model. So that's what I said. Yeah. Yeah.
And I can feel that now. Like I've only been involved really in this in the last couple of years, but especially this eBay Open, they had seller-led everything. They're embracing all of the smaller people and the diversity of every business, and just really putting the sellers out there. And I like that.
Yeah, very cool to say. All right, let's see what's Melanie's in the comments there that we just wish they would advertise more. Yeah. We appreciate the growth, but they do TV, which I don't know I don't know anybody that really watches TV anymore.
Well, but they're on streamed things like Hulu and stuff. If you're poor like me and you don't do the non-commercial ones.
Right. Okay. All right. Oh, you can do non-commercial Hulu?
That must be what I have.
Pay for it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. I still pay for it, but it's pretty cheap, like $7 a month or something. I don't know. I just do the basic level of everything.
All right. I had it for a while, but I don't have it now. It's just cutting expenses all over the place here. Yeah.
Right. You can also suspend it. So I only like it during the season when there's actually like shows on every week.
Oh, okay.
And then during the summertime or like when there's a hiatus, like right now, you can just suspend it and not pay for it. Anyways, that's my Hulu tip.
Oh, all right. That's good. And actually, that's going to tie into one of the things that I really want to talk about today. One of the things that happened at eBay Open, just really excited about. Probably not something you went to, but we'll see. All right, let's see. We record off DirecTV and never see an eBay ad. We see Etsy, Posh, and sometimes even Mercari. You know what's happened to me a couple times? Oh, go ahead, Samantha.
I'm more shocked that people still use DirecTV, really.
Oh, yeah, right? And in an urban area, like a fairly populated area too. Yeah.
Right.
That's what we had out here in the country like many, many years ago because there was no cable or anything like that. So one of the things I've seen eBay advertising, and I meant to throw this in the community because I thought it was so cool, was I was on YouTube. And what popped up? But an advertisement from eBay for my store for Conchi Consignment. I wasn't logged in as Conchi Consignment, but that's the ad it served me. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And that's I've also gotten ads on TikTok. So I think they're getting better, but yeah, I agree. They can definitely do better to target, especially the younger demographic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Yeah. And it's always the shoes and the motors, which I know are their biggest parts. And I sell eBay motors. Like I sell quite a bit of stuff in there considering what I do. And so I just feel like it's always the same categories, but they're the biggest categories. They're getting me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was happy to see that they didn't focus so heavily on trading cards and sneakers at this eBay Open. I felt like the last two were definitely just, a little bit off-putting for those of us that don't specialize in those markets, for sure. Yeah. I think so.
True.
I think
no matter what they're doing, putting eBay out there is putting eBay out there. So
yeah. Good. All right. So Philly, let's see. Was there any wrap up, big aha moments besides meeting the CEO? Met some really cool sellers that I think will be joining our community. Met somebody that specializes in the music niche, like instruments, guitars, which,
cool.
Yeah, very interesting business model he has. And I met somebody that was a full-time eBay seller, but now he combines that with financial planning for resellers, and he sells part-time.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was very interesting. So we'll be seeing some of those people around probably in the community.
Awesome.
All right, first thing I want to ask, did anybody do the speed networking?
No, but I have a little bit of a beef with the in-person eBay Open.
What?
They had all those boxes up on the wall and their neon sign and all their coolness.
Yeah.
I didn't see any pictures of anybody bent over with carrying all the boxes on their back or being crazy. Everybody just stood in front of it and smiled.
So that's kind of funny. So I did that. I don't know where they put the picture, where the picture is. I'll probably see it on the advertisement for next eBay Open. Because for those of you who don't know, Molly and I were on all of the video advertisements for eBay Open this year. It was kind of funny. Not on purpose. We didn't do that on purpose, but yeah. If we did, we would have been branded, right?
Right.
It was just Molly and I, nobody knows. But anyway. Oh, wait, what were you saying?
Boxes,
oh, the boxes
on the wall that
I
were
didn't
cleverly
realize
placed, and nobody was clever about them.
But when you were there, you didn't we didn't realize in Philly, and the photographer never said anything, that's it was supposed to be like you were holding up the boxes, or you were supposed it was just presented as a backdrop. So it wasn't until after I was seeing everybody else's photos from the different areas, from the different cities, that I realized that was even supposed to be that way.
So eBay dropped the box.
Yes, they dropped the box. Yes. Very sad. Very, very
all
sad.
Right. Speed Network. On to the sessions and all the virtual wonderfulness.
So that was it. If you didn't attend one of the city ones and you're having FOMO, it's fine. You didn't miss a whole heck of a lot. I mean, meeting the CEO in Philadelphia, no big, right? It was fun, but bye, Melanie. All right. So speed networking, that was one of the new things they added to the eBay Open this year, and the Hop-In or Bevy or Hop-In, I guess it was. And I thought that was kind of cool. I tried it out today for the first time, but it wasn't matching me with anybody. So, all right. So I always joke and say to Molly, I'm undateable, right? Undateable, right? I just I'll never find a match. I'm just undateable. But then I kind of had that feeling on, because it wasn't matching with anybody. I'm like, oh my gosh, so I can't even be matched with other eBay sellers to just chat, because it's just fun and fun. So that was kind of.
Do you know what it is? They heard that you were dating Poshmark. That was the problem. Yeah.
But I did actually end up it did match me with someone for 2 or 3 minutes, and so that was really fun. It was really cool. I wish it worked better. I guess there wasn't enough people. And he even said, I've tried this, and he's over the past 2 days, and he said it's only connected me with 2 other people. So it wasn't really me.
I didn't even see. Yeah, we'll go with that. No. I didn't even see where you could do it. Somebody told me about it in the middle of it. They asked if I had done it, and then I forgot about it by the next day. It's just a one-on-one thing. You just put in some info, and then it matches you with somebody.
It just matches you based on whatever profile you had in there. And yeah, it just gives you I don't know whether it was 2 minutes, maybe 2 minutes with the person, and then you can extend the time, or you can leave, or you can share contact information. It was actually really, really cool. And the gentleman that I did meet was really interesting, really nice, business consultant. And we had a lot to chat about. It was really neat. It was fun.
Okay, that's
so cool. I wish it worked a little better, or maybe it was just the fact that it wasn't quite advertised.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was a thing. I mean, I was only half paying attention some of the times. I had a lot going on here, but still, it wasn't obvious to do it. I followed all the other sessions and things. So
yeah, I think it could have been a lot cooler. But even on the sidebar, it just said people. I think it should have maybe said speed networking, because it wasn't super obvious. So maybe that's why it kind of flopped. I don't know.
They did that with a few other things too. I went to I had my agenda of the things I'd pre-picked of what I was interested in wanting to do.
Yeah.
And then I did it an hour before or the day before, not anything crazy. But then I would go in and hit the sessions tab, or to go into them, and they were named different things. I think they had a lot more room in the agenda than what they actually had in the sessions area, but they named them I wanted to go to the Death Pile one and talk about Money Mountains. And then it wasn't even called that when I went in there. And a couple of us, I was chatting with some other people, we couldn't even find it, or we had to click on all of them to figure out which one was even going to have that topic. So that was a little annoying. But once we got into those sessions, I really liked almost all of the seller-led sessions.
Okay, yeah, the ones I've seen. So I did go into the I was a couple minutes late, but I did go into the death pile one, Money Mountain.
Right.
And I had met, it's funny because I met the that seller in Philly the night before,
Nice.
Alex Carrera that does Save a Suit. And I thought he was
So knowledgeable.
incredible. And I was, of course, like super curious because I couldn't tell because he also presented in Philly. He was like the seller that presented or was interviewed on stage. And I couldn't figure out because we all talk a lot about like sustainable fundraising at C Chats and things like that. Whether his was like an actual nonprofit in and of itself or whether, you know, he was, I couldn't figure out like what the business model was. So I did ask him. It is a regular 501c3. So like he's an employee that's paid a salary to run it. And that's how he makes a living. So I couldn't figure out if like he was a seller and he was just selling for charity or whether it was like an actual nonprofit. So that's the deal with that. If anybody else has any questions, but phenomenal business model. I just need a little clarity on that, baby. But yeah. So what were your thoughts on the Money Mountain presentation he did? I mean, I thought he did a great job.
So he did a great job, super knowledgeable. I liked everything he was talking about. My problem really the first couple days up until this afternoon was how negative the chats were and how like I know it's normally like that, like on the main
Oh my
stage.
gosh, I thought it was so much less negative this year.
I thought
yes.
it was, I don't know if I'm in like a weird space this week already and it just hit me different, but like it was so negative and everybody's pouring in there and it's so quick. But even in some of the smaller rooms I was in, I would try to pick smaller rooms. Sometimes I didn't even care about category. I would pick smaller rooms so I could get more time to chat with people. Everybody was just wanted to complain about eBay. And I'm like, listen to these amazing people. So a lot of times I found myself tuning out and just trying to talk to people in the chat and answer questions, or sometimes I just tuned out because I was sick. A lot of these people were sitting there. The Q&As afterwards were awesome. They did their pre-recorded thing. They could talk to people in the chat while that was going on.
That was really smart the way I was really happy with that. Yeah.
And then they had an equal amount of time afterwards, not just a quick minute. They had a lot of time afterwards to follow up and answer questions. And that was awesome. I just felt like a lot of it was them trying to skip over or get away from all the negativity or the eBay complaints and actually talk about what they were trying to talk about. Like,
yeah, it was really just counterproductive. People in there with all the negativity. Yeah.
So I don't know. It hit me hard this week, but today was awesome. And there was so much positivity in the chat and the community really came together to end it all. So I'm on a high note now and I'm feeling a lot better.
Yes. Yes. I know. I still want to talk about like the keynote takeover, but we'll save that until the end, right? Because that was, oh man, so good. So, all right, things that are going to affect us. The one thing that kept hitting really hard, and I'm dying for your thoughts on this, is AI. I mean, everywhere we turn, everybody's AI.
Right.
Now, I feel like they're trying to like reverse engineer AI and figure out how it's going to fit their business. Like for me, a lot of this stuff isn't making a whole lot of sense at this point with AI. It's like, all right, you spent years telling us item specifics, short descriptions. Like people laugh when they see my item description because it's literally just the title and the condition. Yep. Like I put all my energy into specifics or like keywording the title and things like that. And now all of a sudden it's like they're trying to push, you know, very fancy descriptions when for years they've been saying that's not where things are headed. So for me, it just doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense at this point.
So I agree. What I think they're trying to do is no matter how much you say, just focus on your title, focus on the item specifics. People are still have their little home coded HTML, red lettered, whatever from
frames, yeah,
from 2002 that they put in there, and it has all their policies and their disclosures and whatever. I think that they're trying, and then those are also the same people that are complaining about how long it takes to post something on eBay. So I think they're using AI to their advantage to say, hey, you just have to click a button now. It's going to put a bunch of awesome stuff in there, tweak it a little bit. And they're trying to make those people and that thing take less time and streamline. People like you and I, we're already streamlined. We can do it pretty quick, and it's cool. Have you been using the new ListPerfectly plan?
I have, but not the AI generative part.
Okay, so it's better than eBay's as far as it flows a little bit better.
Okay,
but I'm still on the fence because it adds perfect. It's the perfect fit for your elegant evening, or there's so much.
Oh my God, that's where I was 10 years ago.
Right, and
like,
we treat
I was there
ourselves
10 years ago.
Yes. So there are things that you have to remove. However, the really cool part, and I don't know if eBay does this because I've only played with that one a little bit, but the really cool part about ListPerfectly is you don't even need to use that. You can just say nope, but there's a section that will do the tags. I have not really ever done tags, which I should, and especially now that I'm cross-listing more to Etsy and they are heavy on tags. You can hit the suggest a description and it will give you a description, and it will also suggest a ton of tags that you can just hit OK and it will copy them all into that area. So I like AI for that. And
I've been using that before AI, actually. I wonder if in ListPerfectly, in ListPerfectly, like the suggested tags. Yeah.
There's a
but AI probably makes it's probably a little bit better with the AI. Yeah.
I felt like before I didn't get a ton of results, or they were kind of it's so robust now, it seems like, because I think it takes it from that description as well. Before, my description was 2 sentences, so
right.
Yeah, but so I'm on the fence. I feel like I'm warming up to AI. I don't know. It can only get better, right?
No, I'm totally not against it. It just seems like they're trying to like retrofit like a way to work that in.
Yep.
Well, like the hot thing. Work it into the freaking item specifics, people.
They did talk about a little bit about that today.
The magic listing flow, they were calling it.
Yeah. I wasn't quite following, but everybody was just saying that it's going to be less item specifics that we have to fill out, and I'm all for that. So because I don't fill out a lot to begin with.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be just better than it is now, because like right now, when you put your listing in eBay, or you like, I do it from ListPerfectly, it will suggest certain ones and you select. I think it's just going to make that better. Like, that's cool to me.
Yeah.
That'll be a good use of AI. Those descriptions. Oh.
Yeah, I have to remove half of it anyways, because I am not telling anybody that anything is perfect. Or promising anything about that pair of leggings. It's just a pair of leggings. People measurements,
butt lifting. Yeah. I don't want to get those pictures. Nope, this didn't work.
Right. Not responsible for the pattern.
Oh my gosh. And I even haven't had my adult beverage yet. I better. Maybe it'll calm me down a little bit.
I'm dehydrated. Maybe that's my problem. All right. So God. what other sessions? Holy moly! What else did you go to that you really liked?
Well, all right. Before that, there was so much talk about unpaid items. Every session I went to, in the keynote, like in unpaid items. All right, people, they're working on it.
I thought it's gotten so much better.
I never had a real huge problem with I have a lot of unpaid items, but I use the unpaid item assistant and it relists them. And when I heard the reasoning behind why it's taken so long to roll out, it's actually a really freaking smart business decision. They rolled it out and they lost buyers like flipping crazy.
Yep.
They had to acclimate the buyers. So it was actually to protect the platform and protect us, and it had so much to do with buyer trust. That's one of the reasons, because they didn't want their buyers leaving eBay. And all right, yeah, like lead with that, people. Lead with that, eBay.
I think consigners understand that more. I mean, everybody understands more when you explain it.
Yeah.
But I think consignment people understand that more because we have to train not just customers, we have to train our consigners. And we have to slowly introduce things or just keep, being repetitive about the way our processes are until everybody's trained and everything flows well. Yeah. And that's essentially what they're doing. They're training all the different levels of buyers and all the things until eventually everybody is doing the same thing. And it's just the way it is. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that, and it makes total sense. And they're obviously rolling it out. Like, it's getting a lot better. Yeah. Any given time, I would have like 3 or 4 unpaid items sitting there on what I call the eBay layaway. And today I have the first one I've had in probably a month. I have actually had people buy something, like accept an offer, and it'll automatically purchase it. And then I've had them message me and say, well, when did that start? I actually had questions about that item before I purchased it.
Right. So they have, like, buyers have to be, and I've had instances of like local pickup people, of like, it's bumpy. It's not as cut and dry. I mean, think about local pickup. It's not as cut and dry as we want to all think it is, and as easy for eBay as we like to think it is. I mean, but I get it's everybody's number one complaint. They did a whole heck of a lot of talking about it. They're rolling it out. It's getting better. But in the meantime, use the freaking unpaid item assistant.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about it. eBay automatically relists them. You don't have to like spend any time or energy worried about whether that item is going to get paid for. If it does, it does. If not, it gets relisted.
And I'm going to say another ListPerfectly thing, because I'm just pumped this week for ListPerfectly.
All right.
They rolled out. They now have a link feature. So I've heard a lot of people that use ListPerfectly or other cross-listing things, and they said, yes, but if I do the automatic relisting, then my number doesn't transfer over the new catalog number, and it won't be synced with my ListPerfectly catalog or Flip or whatever people use. ListPerfectly now has a little link button, so you can look at your recently listed things on eBay or any platform that they sync with, and it will say link, just a little link button. If for some reason there's a broken connection there, you click it and it searches your ListPerfectly catalog like immediately, and your item pops up and it says, is this the one? And you say yes, and boom, it's there. You don't even have to open ListPerfectly. You don't have to copy or paste or do anything. And that was new this week, and I love it. I had links broken that I didn't even know about. Yeah, because
all of my Facebook Marketplace listings links are broken because
delist is a game changer now.
Yeah,
I didn't do it because they would all be broken and I'd have to manually delist, and you don't have to now. You can hit that auto, and then you can just go through and hit links. Done.
I can't wait to play with that. I'm so excited for that. Cool. Yes. That's gonna.
So, anyways,
be wild.
They are working on those things, and they have methods to their madness. And I hated how so many people kept comparing them. Well, if other platforms can do it, eBay is huge. They're not other platforms. Other platforms are doing it, and people aren't shopping there. We know that because we're not making sales over there.
Ooh, yeah, good point. Yes.
Everybody kept saying, well, if Mercari can do it, if Facebook can do it, I'm like, what? Like, I don't make my money from there. I could not be full-time if I only had Mercari or Facebook, but eBay makes this possible.
Yes. That's a really good point. I've never heard it presented like that. Very good. Very good. Yeah.
I just wanted to scream at a lot of people this week and like, no, but the chat went so fast you couldn't even do that.
No, I would try to like somebody's comment and, whatever. All right. So let's see. There was a lot of talk about the international shipping. We've talked about that. We love it. We love the new international shipping with eBay. I recommend it. It's seamless.
I helped a couple people set it up. I did a little video chatting with some people, showed them business policies, and gave Libby credit for making me do them years ago or a year ago. They're so easy. And I loved So in the chat, there was a couple people they're talking about international eBay sales, and the lady goes, I had a few and didn't even know that's what I was doing, because the way they rolled it out in stages, you
Yep.
really didn't know that your policy had changed if you were in the previous one or whatnot. And you just send it domestically, and it changed from Kentucky to Chicago. She goes, I didn't even know until I got feedback saying how well I'd packed it, and it made it all the way to England or whatever.
Yeah, it's really seamless. It's a wonderful program. They did an awesome job with that.
It is. I sold something to Spain today. It works beautifully.
Oh, yeah. That was actually one of the things I did on my I only had 3 things that sold international last week, but I let my customers guess. And,
Oh, I saw that.
yeah. It's
That's
always
3 things is pretty
surprising.
good. I only have a couple of months right now, but they're
Oh, okay.
rolling that out to more and more countries too. They did
Yeah.
a slow roll on that to get it. It's such a big integration.
And honestly, it's so seamless. I had to like scroll back through like to
Yeah.
see which like I didn't know which ones were I didn't even know which ones were international. I had to scroll back through my feed and see on my phone like, all right, this was part of the international program. This was because I don't even pay attention. I just ship.
You really got to dig. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it.
One of the things I loved the like the little things they put up. I'm an eBay seller to see everybody, like all the different eBay sellers. But there was one, Jude, a graduating college, and he said inspiring economic opportunity.
Oh, there
And
you
I
go.
loved that little quote.
Yes.
And I think that kind of summed up like the theme of eBay Open is like inspiring economic opportunity.
Yeah.
Because it does. I mean, it's there's a low barrier to entry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they need to throw the. You got to have something to boost you up and get you pumped about stuff. I mean, we have an awesome community, and we are in other awesome reselling communities, but there were over 50% of the participants in eBay Open this week are brand new sellers and have never come to an eBay Open. I'm assuming they've never come to any of the other, Boss Reseller Remix, which is in a couple weeks, or Camp Listing Party or any of that stuff. So this is their chance to see what the community is about and get pumped up and keep growing.
Yeah, definitely. So some of the like networking rooms and the expo center where that like I popped into Boss and they were talking about the Boss Reseller Remix, which is in October, and the link is always in our show notes because you don't want to miss it. It's amazing. It is the reseller event of the year as far as we're concerned. It's just life changing.
And if you can't attend in person, you can attend virtually. They will have a live feed and you'll still be able to interact and do things. And there is a coupon code below for that as well.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited about that. So I was really excited to see they had like a booth at the in the expo hall or whatever they called it. And they were represented. That was really, they were a sponsor of eBay Open because there will also be eBay execs at Boss. You can talk to
Adam Ireland for sure.
Adam Ireland. I think Brian Burke is going to be there and Griff doing the eBay for Business podcast. So
I think Kaomi will be there, but I'm not for sure. But I think I heard that.
Oh, all right, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think she will.
I think she's native to Arizona, so it's real close. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kaomi does the
seller meetup.
The seller meetup. She's in charge of that. So if anybody out there is thinking of starting a seller meetup or interested in seller meetups in any way, shape, or form, let us know. We'll put you in contact. I think seller meetups are some of the best ways to keep this energy and communication and networking going all year long. So
yes, mine took a summer hiatus, but I talked to Kaomi yesterday. We've been emailing back and forth, and I'm gonna start mine back up. I'm scheduling it for when I get back from Boss.
Oh, you are? All right.
Yes.
Ours is in November, but mine is near Philly. So I think God, I don't know, one more thing to take on, but they're just so important to me, like that networking. I
And
really want to have one here.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot when you're scheduling it, and that's why I didn't do it this summer. I just kept thinking about it and going, oh, that's another thing. That's another thing. But then I've really been thinking about it this week, and I'm like, it's not, though. I schedule it. I put a couple things out there, and then I go have coffee with people. Like, it's
And
really...
don't you leave so energized when you
Yes.
talk to people that do what
Yes.
you do? Yeah.
Yep.
And for me, I leave with inventory. I leave with a truckload of inventory.
My
Resellers
mom-
are my best consigners.
My mom showed up this week she watched day 2 with me. We watched it together, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, had our own little watch party. She also brought me a few things to sell.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah. I know. I had 3 family visits this week, and I got 3 loads of consignment. Yeah.
Yes. She only brought like 1 or 2 things, so it wasn't too bad, but
I mean, we can't complain.
Right.
It's good stuff to sell.
Yes.
And they mean well. Bless
Yeah.
their hearts. Bless their hearts. I think my family thinks they keep me employed.
Right.
You know, because like when you tell people you sell online for a living, you know, sometimes the response is like,
That's
pity
not a real
almost.
job.
It's not a real job.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Here, let me
I
give
don't
you
want to
some
know your
stuff.
process.
This is good stuff. You could sell this. Yeah. So, all right. So this is kind of, I don't think she'll ever watch this video. All right. So I won't even say who it is. Family member comes to my house for the first time the other day, and she comes into my lower level, which I heard called, I think Anna Packer said, an e-basement. I think that's what I'm going to call it now.
That's great.
Yeah, isn't it cute?
Yes.
E-basement. Yeah, it's my e-basement. My lower level, and she comes and she goes, because the only thing she does, like her interaction with my business is usually shopping on Facebook or the live sales, right? So like no concept of what is actually happening behind the scenes, which is fine, which is great. Thanks. I love that. So she comes down to my lower level, my e-basement, and she was like, "Oh, what? What?
You've got a warehouse down there."
Like literally, like shocked. And this is somebody who shops with me, right? Like literally just absolute shock.
Yeah.
And I think she was like, wow, no, she's running a legitimate business. I guess she doesn't really need my stuff to survive.
Especially your previous home, you had it scattered. You had your office, you had the upstairs where you put stuff.
My
you had
third floor where nobody went stored the majority of my inventory and had my shipping area, right? So nobody went up to the third floor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. I could see that. I could see that makes a little bit more sense too. If they don't see the whole process, they just see our social media, or they see my poor dad. It just sees me. Somebody hands me something while we're hanging out on the weekend, and I'm like, oh, cool. And I snap a couple pictures and I list it. He must think that I only do a couple of those a day or something. And I need more stuff because that's all I got.
Yeah. I guess I hadn't really given that much thought, like to what people's perception of what I do is.
Mm-hmm.
But
in your e-basement.
In my e-basement. What do you do down there in your e-basement? You don't want to know.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So thanks, Anna Packer. I now have something to call this mess of my life. No, I love it. And it's organized. It's not messy.
It is.
It would look messy to the untrained eye, though.
I loved it earlier when you walked away to get something when we were having our meeting, and I could just, it was just shelves of IKEA bags, and it looked beautiful to me, like an eBay-topia.
Yeah. And it's all on rolling racks, right? And I have concrete floors here. So like literally I can roll any piece of inventory, any rack. I can double stack them. It's so nice. All right.
This is why everybody needs a community and meetups and whatever you need to do to interact with other resellers, because nobody else is ever going to get that. Like, what do you mean this is organized?
What do you mean this is organized? Like, you're happy about having concrete floors and wire shelving?
with wheels.
Yeah, really, really happy. Really happy. In fact, this was a lifelong goal of mine.
Right.
And I'm not kidding. I'm not
I'm
kidding,
still
folks.
working towards that lifelong goal. I understand.
Oh my gosh. All right. So one of the sessions I went to, did you go to this one? It was the Kelsey Robinson from McKinsey. She was a senior partner and she talked about the economic forces shaping consumer spending patterns.
I did. I didn't catch the Q&A at the end, but I got to see all of her graphs and everything in the beginning. Yeah,
Fantastic.
So the reason I didn't stick around for the Q&A at the end, I'm sure there was something going on here, but also the negativity of people not looking at the facts that she is presenting you. And she's not saying, oh my gosh, the economy is doing great. She's saying, look at these categories, focus on these demographics, look at who's spending. She had so much awesome information on which person is spending money. You know, we might have to change our ideal customer a little bit and tweak some things in order to fit this forecast for the economy right now. But everybody was just, we're in a recession, the economy's dead. And I'm like, yeah, her graph is definitely saying that all of these people are not doing things, but this person down here, they're doing things. So let's focus on that. It was great.
Yeah, it was great. Don't let those negative people ruin it for you. That's rotten. Yeah, because her presentation was so well thought out and put together and interesting, in a geeky sort of way. But like I walked away, like one of the things that I'm seeing, and I think you've been seeing it, we talked about this before, was people are buying lower dollar value, a lot more lower dollar value items, getting a lot more value for their dollar. But super high-end things are selling.
Yes.
Like right alongside of them. And I'm like, there's no, like that in between space is kind of like my everyday, what used to be maybe my bread and butter items are no longer my bread and butter items.
Unless we lower the price or they're going off on an offer, a lowball offer.
Right. Yeah. It looks totally different. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, this is what I'm seeing happening. Like I couldn't quite get a grasp for like why these super high-end items are selling. And for us, super high-end is a couple $100 items. I'm not talking like thousands of dollars, folks.
Amen. Yes.
Because my average sales price is more in the $20 range, like $19-$20 range is my average sales price.
Yes, I think my highest item listed is like 400 something. So
yeah. So those high-end items are selling. And I'm like, wait, I don't understand what. And so she talked a lot about the splurge mentality. So, millennials that have the money, starting their careers and things like that have the money, are super ecologically conscious and into sustainability and want a lot of value for those lower end items that they're buying. And they're buying very similar quantities that they did during the pandemic. But they feel that they have the right, and they're making the money to splurge, right? So that's why we're seeing those high dollar value items, is that's what people are doing, is they're buying the real high end stuff. Hey, Jill. Alongside and getting more value for their dollar for lower end items. So that totally explained the disparity I was seeing, and will definitely change the way I'm kind of thinking about how I'm listing things.
I agree. And like I said, might need to tweak Stephanie a little bit, maybe just to go along with our ideal customer and who we're really focusing on right now.
Right.
Also, eBay, I did notice Jill and I were actually looking at YouTube an hour or so ago, and as of an hour ago, they had updated and uploaded everything to the eBay for Business YouTube page. So you can go back and watch all of it on there. You don't have to log in to hop in. You don't have to try to find it. There were so many. Like the whole page was just filled with eBay uploading everything. So you can go back and watch those ones. The only thing they didn't record was the networking rooms where it was just live Q&A stuff.
Yeah. Which there were some real rough rooms. There were some really good ones.
Yep.
But I think they need to get a little bit better control over those rooms there.
Oh,
And the people they allow to be on screen giving advice. Like there was people giving advice that had no right to be giving advice, and it was just a little disheartening,
I agree.
honestly.
I did feel like eBay had a lot more presence in the rooms as far as like they had a lot more representatives in there trying to moderate and do things. But yeah, some of the people that they put in charge of a room maybe shouldn't have been, and then they weren't doing a good job of keeping on top of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe a little training for the moderators and how to effectively remove somebody from the screen or let everybody have a voice.
When you have somebody or a couple people, because I mean, whoever is running that room can add whoever wants to be added.
Sure. Yeah.
You have like 3 or 4 people that are in an older generation, and then you have sweet little eBay person that's like 19 and interning, and they're like, oh, I have to mute them or tell them to stop, or they don't know, they don't have the skills to do that, they don't have the experience to
It's
so
a hard thing to do. It's not just something you can just pop in for the first time and figure out, honestly, right?
They tried, they gave it a good go.
Yeah. So I mean, all right, eBay, if you ever listen to this, please give your moderators some training on how to handle situations like that.
And vet some of your people a little bit more. I totally understand not wanting to have a bunch of YouTubers up there, and I get that, and I love it, and I'm glad that they bring in real sellers and real stuff.
Yes.
However, it is hard when this person has never been given a screen before, and all of a sudden you stuck them on a platform and they have all the voice, and it can get a little dicey. So
yeah. There was one, it was Patty Whitlock. She was doing vintage costume jewelry, and I love her. She's great. She's a wealth of knowledge. But the chat was a little bit brutal on her. Yeah, I mean, she could have used somebody from eBay in there, kind of.
Yeah, they could have used more people in the chat. Regardless, I think they were
great.
They were trying to focus more on what the tech was doing when the screens and the sharing, and then the chat was just going crazy. Yeah.
Oh, hi.
But I'm gonna. So I love coming into stuff. I mean, you guys know that I love touching chat and I love commenting and doing
I had
stuff.
to put her up there since she was lurking. Sorry. Hey,
that's fine. I love it. There's a freighter in the background. I love it. But I think I'm just gonna hide the chat next time and just soak everything else in, because
yeah. All right. I think that's probably a good thing. I'll remind you about that next year before we do this.
Luckily, they have quarterly updates, and we will remind ourselves for the winter update if they do a winter one or a spring one or whatever, and then it won't be 12 months before we do this again.
Absolutely. All right. So here's the one I went to that I said kind of tied into the Hulu discussion we were having earlier, was the FIRE one, Financial Independence, Retire Early, that whole movement.
So I was so conflicted about going to that or going to the social media one. So I sent Don to that one, and he reported back to me because they weren't recorded.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So how was I'm sorry, guys. I got to take a potty break.
All right. Well,
all right. You amuse everybody. I can hear you. Tell me about financial independence.
Okay. Hopefully we can't hear you when you're going to the bathroom.
Oh my God.
As if she wasn't nervous about that. So I didn't go to the financial one. I went to social media. At first, I was a little sad because it was a sports cards person. And I was like, oh man, I did tell Jill right in the beginning. I'm like, oh, I'm ready to close out of it. But it was good. She didn't talk anything specifically about like if you should, like what kind of plan you should have with it. Hey, Nicole, I like that says your name. She didn't specifically say like what kind of plan you should have with social media. She just talked about the different types of social media and the benefit to redirecting your traffic and how to talk to people. She was a little nervous on her pre-recorded one. And I mean, as any of us are.
Who did the social media one? Oh, I thought you said, okay, and I missed it.
I didn't write down her name. Somebody breaks cards. Mama breaks cards or something like that. It was a female sports cards person that like
Oh,
that's
okay.
what she does,
Oh, all right.
which is awesome because there's not a lot of those in that field of sports
Great, yeah.
cards and stuff. But yeah, then she came onto the Q&A and she was super great. So a lot of people were just nervous when they had done their recordings and stuff.
Sure.
But something that even I did it, the first one that I tuned into, the first eBay Open that I went to, was everybody sharing their eBay store. But that's not your demographic. And Kathy Terrell had told everybody in her sneak peek session, like, don't come in here and just fill the comments with your Instagram and your da-da-da and all this if you're just looking to make sales. Now, if you're networking, and I shared Consignment Chat stuff, I shared ListPerfectly stuff, people that were looking for solutions or communities,
right.
I shared those things. Come to our Facebook group, come to theirs, do this. But all the people that were looking, I have 10% off right now. I have a coupon for this. That's not your demographic. Those are not your ideal customer.
Know your audience.
Yes.
Know your audience.
So she talked a lot about that. Like somebody asked, well, what do
good.
I do about social media? I feel like I'm just spamming my family. And she's like, don't add your family. Go in and join communities and talk to other sellers, see how they're doing stuff and see how they're reaching out to people. And Myra didn't like it either. It's
like I'm wondering if they should have if they could figure out a way to block that.
Yeah. Right? And Kathy Terrell, she had a whole thing on it for eBay sneak peek, and she hit the nail right on the head with that. Don't come in here and do that. But there's only so many people that went to that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I want to talk about this for a second. Okay. So in the jewelry, the vintage jewelry, Patty Whitlock had said she suggested going into assisted living facilities. And she very clearly said, not people that have dementia or any sort of like mental, it's people that are downsizing. And people just went off on her. It was really rough.
Probably just the way it was worded. There's a difference in my area. Like our assisted living facilities are just people that literally can't take care of themselves. They have dementia, they have whatever. If you're in Florida, that's a community and they are perfectly capable of doing things, but they now live in a tiny community and don't have room for all their stuff. Yeah.
I mean, one of the points I really wanted to make in the, in her room was I've helped a lot of people downsize, and maybe it was the assisted living facilities, but they were saying like you're ripping them off. But I'm telling you, these, like, I'm going to say women, like elderly women, they want somebody else to have their costume jewelry. They want to sit with you and tell you the story about where they got it, or if there was like history to the piece. You are doing them such a kind service by I would take those items on consignment by sitting with them and hearing the stories and, letting them know that's going to have a new life. So it's not really not a negative. It depends on how you do it. Like if your intentions are poor, don't go do that. But, the things I've got from doing that exact thing and the happiness it brought, it wasn't a negative thing. It was a totally positive experience. And I don't have the time to do that now, but it meant so much to those women. It was really, really touching and really fulfilling to be able to do that and provide that service. And I wish that came across in her session.
Their kids don't want it. Their families don't want it. And all they want is all these worldly possessions that they've collected for their whole life. They just want them to go to somebody who cares about the snowman nativity set. That's all they want. And then when you come back and you say this nativity set sold to somebody in Oklahoma and they are going to love it. And then that makes their whole world.
I'm going to cry just when you said that. I know you just made it up, but I got a little choked up. They just
want to know. Well, this actually came from somebody that already passed. And so she had a room full of nativity sets that nobody wanted. And that's worse than when they know that they go somewhere and people want them, because these things mean a lot to them. They want to know where they go.
Yeah. It's not about doing it for a profit or ripping somebody off or taking something that God forbid somebody would want and selling it. It's not about that at all. Yeah.
That being said, if you're doing consignment, that is a red flag. If they want to sit down and tell you every piece of this nativity set, you may want to find somebody that has time for that, because there were 60-something nativity sets in this house, and I did not have time, if the lady had been there, to talk about all of them.
Oh my
So you
gosh.
got to find a balance.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Becky, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I'm
Yeah,
just so excited to see Nicole here. I'm just saying, we always
I
get Joe.
know.
Love you, Joe.
Oh wait, so Nicole wasn't on earlier. She didn't see I have my Diet Birch beer in my new cup that Samantha won for me. I didn't deserve this, Nicole. You're too nice.
My cup's downstairs, but it will be on a lot of other lives.
Beverage in my Consignment Chats cup. All right.
There you go.
Because it's Friday and it's my happy hour now. All right.
There you go.
So what did you think about the Financial Independence Retire Early session?
So John just gave me a quick thing when we were in between sessions. But he said it was a lot like when they were talking about the different generations and stuff of spending. It's also the different generations of saving and trends for that. So you tell me more about it, because I didn't get a lot.
So I didn't take a lot of notes. It was just it was interesting. It was just a lot about like the movement to retire early and have a stockpile and be, it's really about cutting your expenses now. Yeah. Yes.
Everywhere. I took on a walk around town. Anyway, yes. Cutting expenses.
Yeah, so it was really about saving and like figuring out exactly what your living expenses are and where you could cut them. Not stuff that I don't like to, like, I am very into debt-free living, and that is how I live my life. But I think I could probably learn a little bit about retiring early and, saving and cutting expenses and really figuring out what I need and making that commitment to save a little bit more. So that was kind of what I kind of just said, really figure out what you need to live. I don't need Hulu.
Right? If you do, you can just put it on for a month and then you can suspend it for a little while. They made it really easy.
Yeah. So I think it kind of reinforced for me the idea that I need to have a better handle on what I actually need to live. Because that makes me happy to be able to save and to cut expenses. And I don't mind doing that. But I need to get a spreadsheet going, a Google sheet. Somebody put in the comments, I laughed a little bit, and they said it was an Excel. Oh, you need to put an Excel spreadsheet together. I was like, no, you need to put a Google sheet together because that's free and you have to pay for Excel.
That's something I should probably cut, but I just can't. I can't let go of my Microsoft.
Oh, I had the hardest time. Believe me, I was the spreadsheet queen. And
Google Docs is great. They do a good job. They're close.
It's close, but it's not Excel. You should see some of the stuff I did in Excel. Oh,
I would have loved
make your head spin.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was the big push for that. It was just interesting to hear that. And it's also, they talked a lot about like different communities of people on Facebook or YouTube that are committed to this lifestyle, because I think that you definitely need the support for that kind of lifestyle. You need to kind of surround yourself with people of that mindset. If you really want to do it. Different podcasts they talked about. And I think probably that was a really good takeaway, was community. Right? Like,
because otherwise people
that are doing that.
Yeah, if people are watching other people, they just want to keep up with the Joneses. They want to compare. Yeah. They want to just, I say the Joneses as well because those are my neighbors. I'm always trying to keep up with them. But yeah, you want to surround yourself by people that know that you don't need to.
Yeah.
Right? Can we just share our subscription or something, Joe? Like, we just pay $4 and that $79.99 a month won't be so bad. Like,
how much is it?
I think I pay $7.99 a month for Microsoft 360. Is that 365?
Girl, whatever. You need to watch that fire session. You need to watch that. You'll be getting ready your Excel. All y'all will be getting ready your Microsoft.
Okay, let's talk about that. So we also though have Photo Room, and ListPerfectly offers Photo Room stuff. And we probably, I know it's inconvenient and our workflow is totally different, but we probably could figure out a different workflow to use up the $1,500 a month that they give us.
I could, but I won't.
But right, see, that's how
Sorry.
I feel about my Excel.
Yeah, no, I did it without Photo Room for a good year. Molly had a subscribe. I did it for a good year. Like I tried, I fought the good fight, but
Yeah.
it was definitely worth the whatever it is, $79 a year.
Yeah, it's so nice.
To have the subscription for me. It cuts down way more than that in time and efficiency.
So Bellin or whoever may be listening from Photo Room, because you said you were going to check us out. We love you, and something we can't give up.
That's right. All right. So what else do you have session wise or did anybody in the chat go to a session that they really liked that they think we should check out on the
let us know. I have to rewatch a lot. I had a lot going on here. I had a lot of distractions. So the hard part is when people know you're home, and I know Jill can relate to this. She actually took off time from her full-time job and wanted to focus on this. And when people know you're home, it's just a lot harder. I was down in my living room or my dining room when my mom was here. So we'd have space and watch together. And then there's just things happening, distracting. So I will be rewatching a lot of them on YouTube. So tell me what to rewatch, people.
Yes, please. All right. So the highlight. Should we get into the highlight? Let's see. Was there anything else I wrote down for notes? I don't think so.
Yeah, we went over all my stuff too.
Tara Peak, Millennial Mouse did a good session on pricing and things like that. That's definitely worth checking out. The information in the sessions was really good. It's just so I'm glad the networking rooms aren't recorded and up there, because I heard some really horrible advice and incorrect answers.
Which you get from anywhere. I mean, we sat with a few people at a couple other conferences that had some bad advice, and reputable people you would have thought would have been reputable. So just everything you hear, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe you should listen to me, but you should always listen to me. But just
check who you're listening to. We're big on that.
Take everything with a grain of salt, and then research before you make any drastic changes or do anything. It's still your business, and you need to treat it like a business. So.
Yeah. Like I feel confident in the eBay advice I give. Don't come to me for YouTube advice. Don't come to me for YouTube advice, because
you can go
I
for
will tell you, not the people. Yeah. Maybe Molly's good for that.
She is.
Yeah. But she's not here, so don't ask us any YouTube advice.
No. Struggling through Canva this week. It's okay.
Yeah, honestly. Oh my God. All right. So highlight of the thing was the keynote takeover by Ken the Hustlebee, Lorianne Wong, of Reflections of Trinity, and Anna Packer and Aesthetic Miscellany. I thought they were absolutely phenomenal, and they really provided some like real world advice. And these are sellers who are doing it. Like you can vet them, you can look at their stuff. I have. They're walking the walk, and they talked a lot about sacrifices, and you got to put the time in. You have to give things up. This is not a passive income stream. It is hard work, and you have to make sacrifices if you want to make this your full time, or if you want to make a certain amount part time. It is not. It may be simple, but it's not easy, and there are things you have to give up.
Use the listing calculator. Just gonna say that. Know your goals and how you're going to achieve them, because so many people they'll go full time or they'll do whatever, and they'll oh my gosh, my schedule is so flexible. We all say that it's an amazing perk, but you don't see that I'm up until midnight most nights, because I need to make sure that I get my stuff done before like Libby always says, before your head hits that pillow, have your things done. So it's amazing when we need it to be amazing, but it is a lot of hard work if you're going to make it work. Yeah, Nicole, the balance is tricky. Yeah.
And I think we don't hear that enough. Like we see, like, it's almost like magic, like, oh, they're, because it's the people that are on YouTube, the people we see, they seem
Mhm.
like we might be coming in at the end of their journey, right? They put in, 20 years of hard work. They put in
Yeah.
15 years. They put in 10 years. And it seems to us like it's an instant, like, oh my gosh, like, look at this. It's so, I can do that too. And behind the scenes, I just loved that they talked about the sacrifices and how hard it is,
Mhm.
continues to be, and how much work they have to put in. I just loved hearing that so much because I get so tired of like the magic pill syndrome, right? There is
Yes.
none. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so they talked about getting back to basics. They talked about like start small. Do
Mm.
one listing a day. You know everybody talks about what the algorithm needs and what any platform. You need to be consistent. You need to list daily. It's okay if it's one. If that's what you have time for, if that's what is working out in your life, do one.
Yeah.
And then work up to 2 and then 3 and just keep going. I mean, I remember even just when I started talking with you guys on Consignment Chats, I was like, my goal is 5 a day. Now I'm quadruple or more of that and for my goals and working on stuff. But back then, if I'd have said, and I probably did at some point, and after a week said, well, that was ridiculous. If I'd have said 20, 25, 30 a day, no, that's nuts. I was not at that point and I didn't know what to do. So start where you can and get your
Mhm.
processes and just do your basics. Things that need to be done every
Yeah.
day, do those. And then worry about social media and all the fluffy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we talk a lot about that in our Patreon meetings, like our mastermind meetings.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's you have to focus and you have to set realistic goals, right? Like you're not going to set yourself up for defeat. You need realistic goals. Will we push you? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But they need to be realistic and you can't be setting yourself up for failure. And
Yeah.
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 And there you have it.
You can have stretch goals, you can have big dreams, but you got to start at the basics. And that can go, you can take going back to basics even down to small things like an eBay listing. We had to train ourselves to go back to basics, just do the things we need to do that's going to give you a good listing, but still be efficient and get them out there. You can always go back and tweak them. You can always go back and play with AI or fluff things
Mhm.
up or fill
Mhm.
out more item specifics if you really want to. But get your listings done. List every day.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, and last thing, I mean, social media, I use it, but here is, I think everyone needs to hear this repeatedly. There are so many sellers that are super successful that do not do social media at all. If
Yeah.
you feel pressure and you don't have time, you can be a very successful seller and never touch social media. You do not need to do it. Is it
No,
it's nice depending on your business model? Yeah, maybe. But you don't need to do it. Yeah.
put this back up here because I literally had this conversation with Jill. We were deciding, do we go to the social media one? Do we go to the financial one? They both sounded good.
Yeah.
I started on Facebook. I have a Facebook page that has, I don't know how many people, but it's over 1,000, and they're a community and they're loyal to me, and I really should give them more content. I also have several Facebook groups. I have several things that I should be more active in if I'm going to keep that part going, which I would like to. Somebody else that doesn't have a lot going on there, or maybe they started it but it didn't take off, or they didn't put it, you don't have to foster that. You could delete it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you don't have one at all, you don't have to start it.
Yeah.
You just focus on what's going to work for you and your business, because we're all different and we all do things differently. And I may not even need, I could probably delete mine and it would probably be fine, and I could focus on all the platforms I list to.
Mhm.
But my heart needs to keep going with that, and I need to do better with that.
Mhm.
So it's just whatever makes you happy and makes
Yeah.
your business work.
Yeah, I felt like there is a lot of pressure on sellers to do social media and to do that and spend the time. But if you don't have the time, I think that pressure, I think you can let that go. I really,
Mm-hmm.
really honestly do. If you don't have time for it, let it
Yeah.
go. That might be one of the things you let go and focus on listing and selling. And
Yep.
we see pictures on social media because those sellers are on social media, but there are thousands and thousands of sellers across the country, probably across the globe, that are selling way more than that never snap a picture, that never put it on social media, and they're doing just fine. Yeah.
Well, and we do our monthly lives, and we talk about our numbers, which will be next week. Tune in again.
Oh yeah.
And and we talk about that in the last couple, well, over summer. My Facebook and like in-person sales, local meetups and stuff, have been about half of my sales in my business. And so then I have people come up to me or reaching out to me, and they say, well, I need to do more Facebook then. I need to do more Facebook. What do you do? No, you don't have to. If I had to put the time that I put into my auction group, especially since I built that over the last 6 or 7 years, if I had to put that time this summer onto eBay or the other platforms, I'd have still probably made the same amount of sales, just on a different platform. I decided to put that time onto my auction group and do whatever because I already had that built and I have it there. And yeah, it's not just, oh, I should start Facebook and I can get, 50% more sales or do whatever. No, it's not necessarily how it works.
What did Lori and Wong said? Something about focus. She has a really great quote about focus that I thought I'll never forget that because it's so brilliant. And so I didn't write it down. It was like, where you focus is where you'll see, where you'll see results, or something to that line. If somebody knows, let me know. But yeah, it is about where you put your focus. That's going to grow. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Libby. I'm glad that, Jill and I had that conversation earlier, but you really reached her.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, it's true. No. Yeah. You don't need it. Yeah. And I mean, unless, like Nicole said, it's a creative outlet for you and you like to do it, because God, if they ever stop their commercials and their reseller stuff, oh my God, I did that.
Yeah, definitely.
All over there every other Thursday.
Yeah. All right. So I have to say, all right, Jill we'll put in a plug for the C Chats book club. We have a book club on Facebook, and we are going to do every first quarter of every year. We're going to do the same book because it is so amazing. That I forget the name of it. What is it called? The slight edge. Yes, we do. We're doing the first quarter of every year. We're going to do the slight edge because even if you've read it, if you've implemented it, it needs repeating and we need reminding. And it is all about taking small steps over time and what that does. And you can ask any of us that have been doing it for the past almost 8 months. What a game changer it is personally and for business. Just taking small, daily, consistent actions. Like we're talking 5 minutes. We're talking starting with 1 minute for something.
Just reminding reminding yourself you have that long list of things. Take one chunk. Yeah, one chunk for a little. Yep.
I mean, I can't believe where I am now. Like if I hadn't implemented that. Yeah.
You're in your e-basement.
I'm in my e-basement.
All right. So the last part was absolutely the best part of this entire eBay Open, the positive energy, and I've met Ken in person. And then when they brought up all the big faces behind them, I had got a lot of good giggles when I saw Katie and Vicky's heads behind Anna and stuff, and the way that they were zooming in, it was hilarious. And
yeah, I'm sure they're thrilled about that.
It was so funny, but they just gave kudos to so many wonderful people and sellers. And that was the one time when that chat was open and I was loving it. That is the part of the community that really, it showed for that one. Everybody just supporting each other and clapping for each other and cheering each other on. When Lori was talking, they hadn't put the speakers' links up top yet. And Liz and a couple other people had put in, go support her, and this is where you can shop. And every fourth comment, people were just kept resharing that link so that it didn't get lost because everything's so quick, and people could go and check it out and support them. And that's the community. That's the chat I was looking for this whole week. And I'm so glad it ended that way because that was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay.
Well, on that happy note, if you're watching this video, please hit the like, because we never say that, but we do want to be liked. I mean, it's human nature, right?
And the more you like and comment and subscribe, the more other people can see us and how great we are. And we're excited to see a bunch of you at Boss in
Yes.
2 weeks.
If you can't make it in person, definitely check out the show notes, get your use our code, get a virtual ticket discount, and you don't want to miss it, because if you think the Feel Good community was good at eBay Open, this will blow it out of the water. It just
Nicole,
does.
we're gonna have a whole moment where we like bounce up and down and scream when we meet each other, right? Like, because I feel like that's gonna happen.
Oh, because you haven't met yet. Yeah.
Wow. I know.
Wow. All right. Fun.
So exciting.
Well, everybody, I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks. If you think of any additional things you wanted to share, a particular session, just go ahead, put it in the comments here, and let us know what it is.
We'll be live again next week with Molly.
Yes, and I have a very special t-shirt I'm wearing from Joe and Nicole.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So thank you. It will make its debut on our monthly live. Woo!
Love it.
All right, guys. Thanks, Samantha. It's been fun. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Ooh, I didn't end it yet.